Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's start our second half session this morning. So let's welcome Dr. Sai from the Beam Global, who is a chip battery scientist. We talk about maximizing the eVTOL, ROI, in the second life utilization through fast times and the passive moment. So welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. So I really enjoyed this time. It's people from different kind of the spectrum, but also we discuss all kind of topics in a way that you feel unique. Typically I talk about that people that I think I have a few bad people here who would probably have tough questions, but I'm going to get to them. So I know this conference talks about mainly the focus is about the challenge flagship. And this may sound silly because we're talking about flying cars, the way taxis. But if you look at a lot of the studies that show that urban mobility, only those of you who either in Chicago, traveling to come over here, I don't know about LA or other cities. But you will see a lot of talk about something that's called vector visual pickup and landing, or taxi, air taxi. So actually, United Airlines, 2 years from now, when you come to Chicago, if you take United, we'll fly you to downtown and an electric taxi. So if you're a guy, you travel. So my talk will focus on that. I'll share with you a little bit on why we're doing this. I am a research professor at Chemical University of Chicago researcher, but Beam Global acquired my the company, and we focus on actually really commercialize what are we small why we're doing, and what is still in the market. I will share with you some of the technical challenges and what we do in background and how that if you can solve some problem, and then share with you some, what we're doing about the future. So just quickly, Beam Global is actually something that we call way workers to develop and operate solar chargers. So what you see here is actually a standalone system that's not connected to the grid. You have solar tracking, and you have that it's actually built on the big panel. And then we offer EV charging. And what's unique about the system, there's not any but you see the platform near the bottom, that's actually what makes it out. So this comes like a cloud, and you can ship anywhere open and means. So for deploying infrastructure for EV, we think this is a new solution that actually a lot of your deploying clean infrastructure rapidly to power. But here's what we've been talking about. If you look at electric planes, especially for electric vehicle and aviation, actually this is now pushing the limit on energy storage for that. Lithium-ion batteries are actually the only reason they're in now because there's not a battery in the world. Ideally, you need an energy storage in flowers that are actually 5 to 10 times what we have today to meet our problem of aviation. And that's why you see a lot of work now is on biofuel, for people working on hydrogen. But battery power aviation is something that Realistically, it's not feasible except for this kind of application, what's called regional or tax. These kind of vehicles that you will see are powerful in Uber Air, literally in the future, they will be manless to be autonomous in the boardroom and go booking and all that. But also there, you would have a way to replace helicopters. I don't know if you how helicopters emergency in urban areas, blood delivery, food delivery, needs a lot of helicopters. So helicopters are not cheap, but this looks at a place here. What we're trying to do here is actually improve the economics by reducing what's called now. If you look at the way these planes are used, and the twin tours, they have to charge. And most charging people probably think about it. Even if you want to do fast charge, they cool the battery, cool temperature, and then they fast charge. That process takes 2 to 3 hours. And if you're a business owner where you have fleet runner, like planes, or you want even for robots, or fleets of scooters, if you have a use case or you need to move on people unit that I move money down, this is the goal here. So our goal here is to minimize that downtime, which allows the companies that use, let's call it a 12-hour operation window, to utilize the vehicle only twice, instead of 2, 3, 2, 1, to 5 trips, 6 trips. The only thing we're changing here is the charge time. So the key here, we're not changing chemistry, we're not changing design or anything. Maybe the ring industry 5 million. Now, if you look at most of the cells that are used in the application, actually today, the highest energy density that are in the market is in those cylindrical cells that you probably get tested. And those went from 18650, which we saw research for them. There's now 21700, which is more dominant. But the next generation is at 360. So you're talking about going from 3 to 5 amp hour. Now you're talking about 20 amp. And the energy density of those is actually going to reach soon about 300 watt per kilogram, which is the best lithium-ion can offer today. The challenge with those energy cells, as you can see, they don't like to be faster. And if you look at the microscale for big electrode, which are going to have high capacity, if you push it, you're going to end up with lithium plating, which is like it's recycled out, but also very dangerous when you form dendrites and pierce through the cell and cause short circuit. And those are the challenges that people look at. You can get higher density, cheaper cost by having thick electrode on the micro level, but if you do fast charge, you have a problem. So then you go to Thro, and with thin electrodes, actually can lessen the problem in dendrites and plating, but you need energy density. So that's the dilemma that the industry going through these days. Our goal here is not to invent new chemistry or build a new cell. Our goal is what can we scale? As a company, we can't be battery, we put thousands of batteries in no packs. We don't have a lot of say about the chemistry and manufacturing because we have to get the best market outcome. But if you fully understand the chemistry, the thermal management, the balancing, the cycle life, then actually you can actually, as a company, offer the same product with same commodities, giving the advantage over other components of that. And I would never be the next step we have. But just to be clear, fast charge can be sold in different ways. You see a lot of people in this not right? It's fascinating. When you sit in the presentation, like Edwin this one was talking about market nano, right? And then you showed a curve where you go from nano to meters and kilometers. In battery, the same way. You have a lot of researchers worldwide who are, rightfully say, look at new materials, nano level, micro level, then how do I make electrodes, how do I factor them, and you go all the way to the cell. How do we make the cell, how do I, the capping, for example, those cylindrical cells are rolled, and then they roll together, drop it. How do we tap those rolls together? Current out is actually the both of performance and cycle life. And then you make a pack, and that's but when you go to the system, The battery part of the system, you're talking about thermal management, you're talking about AC this morning, thermal management, how far you're reading, how the short ones. Then you talk about also even the environment, but there's other things going on in the vehicle, which is performance, push the car, slow, then the audience has to get a lot of power. So when you get the driving calculator, you have to take all that into account, right? And you literally go from that to the system level. And this is where we look and we evolve, and I will walk you through it a little bit for the last literally 20 years. We've been working in enabling battery, having the battery, moving on fast charge, performance and cycle life and safety. That actually manufacturing themselves on time, they don't have that inside. And the way we do it by two things. First, by using big X composite or passive building. We got to start focusing on it's telling that momentum driven automatic momentum actually that can take into account. How can I build a battery management system that actually typically battery system looks at state of charge, state of health, balancing, control, safety. Can I integrate to look at the thermal state of charge? Well, then it can be that dynamic control charge and discharge of the battery to maximize utilization and safety of the site. So what you see here, and I'll walk you through it. Basically, some of the functions that you see on the left, which is thermal state of charge, state of health, balance and monitoring, these are some of them are typical for battery management system. What we added is when you surround these cells with a compound called pitching material, that pitching material actually does two things. First, it spreads the heat through conduction, the material have there conductivity. We're talking about 15 to 20 watt per unit kilowatt. That's like an hour. So you don't have to move air. It moves it through conduction. The material, we can see the graph here, it has latent. So it absorbs it. So your temperature will actually coincide with world wide control the battery temperature, but then we have to track how much material is left, pitching material, how much fracking, so we can decide how far we push the battery and without sacrificing anything. And this is what you can see the value that we bring to the users. For example, the curve in the left. If you look at multiple application, you don't have the larger viewing liquid or consistent. So if you have the same data run, it will take the product temperature, which is about 50 to 60 Celsius, halfway, which is within 30 minutes of its 1 hour. When you use finishing composite, as we showed you here to the left, you can actually extend the lifetime and time. It's actually the leakage of the material that melts and absorbs. So it allows you to extend the range or the lifetime, in this case, the mission time, about 40 to 50%. By just adding this material, which is probably added about 8% of the weight. In the right, the other thing that allows people to get with batteries is thermal runaway. So if one cell fails catastrophically, we'll have down rescue further in the middle. And when that heats up, it goes thermal runaway, then heats up the next one and the next one, and then you have exploded and bust. And that's what all these safety issues you battery companies started with when you have a pack. Because just to make sure there's no way you can stop that. There's statistically 1 in a few million, 5 million cells will fail. Catastrophic. And that is beyond 16. The question is not when it fails, but what you're going to do with it. So most research that you see today on the material level track prevented, they don't actually, they cannot prevent. So what you do have to continue. And most of the work is on mitigation. And our mitigation is basically using the conductive material to move the heat and then absorb it. And as you can see, this was tested back in the lab at the right in itself, which is actually by the time to it. You want to move, isolate the next cell, but cannot do that because the heat has to go somewhere in the pack. So what we do, we move the heat very quickly across the pack. We use thermal mass in the pack, and then the HMETO melts and absorbs the heat. So you have a long punch. That cell, the next day will not exceed 100 C, and that's a safe. So we actually do not want to out. We keep it when we move it back and take advantage of it. So this is basically the logic of what we're doing. and you can see that, the domestic VMS does protection and monitoring. In the case protection, you can get a VMS, well, based on the chemistry, there's the application, you will have current cutoff for maximum lower current, same thing with voltage. And then finally, for temperature, and this is actually built in for protection, it's on and off more for it. And then there's the monitoring, and I don't know if you guys know state of charge, this is a big problem. If you have, I don't know if you have your laptop or your phone, when you don't have 6 hours, right, or 12 hours. And then it says 50%, and after 2 years, first, you don't get all these out. And then after 50%, instead of telling you have, next to 3 hours, boom, jump to stop. And that's actually a very common problem for state of charge. It has very useful and it requires a lot of work, and that's where a lot of research these days. If you talk about your phone, you have 1 cell, right? When you talk about your laptop, you have probably 5 to 10 1 cell. I don't know if you guys in Tesla, there's 10,000 cells. And all for the cells, for the pack to succeed, perform the cycle life and the range of one. All these cells have to get the same current, same voltage, same number of 4.5 million cells. Any deviation from balance of current, voltage, or temperature will create an impedance loop that is not equivalent, except for imbalance. And then that cell is actually used or used, and then you have these catastrophic or inertial failure. So when you talk about state of charge and state of health, which is something different, and you'll see that state of charge basically tells you how much you're sitting. I'll tell you, we talked this morning about the life cycle of the battery. Well, every battery is unique. I have a record that can tell me how much power you push in the temperature that's discharged. That is different from the other package. So your car, if you're driving your car, every, I don't know, like in Chicago, for example, this hour does not make it 20, 30 miles. But I know people who drive every day, 150, 200 miles. So if you're driving your car, pushing it, the SOC, you have high temperature and high weight, your battery will not last as long as someone who's just driving medium with Boston. That battery has to record that in your state. And finally, we added the thermal state of charge, which is basically like close to the PCM. Your PCM is a reservoir that tells you how much material left there, so you can use it to absorb it. And if you do all this, then now it gets fun. Now I can use that smart VMS to do some stuff in the logic pattern, which most VMS don't do that. They're being in control. But in this case, my VMS will tell me what's the state of charge, the state of health, what is the thermal capacity there. I can actually do some stuff that beyond what's the dynamic system does, which is still balancing and thermal management. I can do what's called dynamic fast charge. And dynamic fast charge is something that everybody's looking at and say, okay, when you go into options for charging electric vehicles, you have either home charge, which is 12, 24 hours. You have level 2, which is 6 kilowatt, and then you fast charge, which is 25, 50. Well, if I can do something in between or more kind of dynamic based on the databases in use case, the business case for fleet, that opens a big window for one. And this is what we did, basically. What we studied, remember I told you like there's a certain number of trips. We said, okay, what if I can run 3 trips and then zap to that fast charge, right? So if you look at this, you can see if you don't have proper management, after the 3 trips with fast charge, you will exceed the safety temperature of 60 degrees Celsius. Now, some battery companies tell you like you're going to stay 50 or 40. We just need 60 here, which is used by a pinball company. And you can see by using fishing material, I actually can meet that requirement, hit the 3 trips, fast charge it, 30 minutes without, right? So what your point? I'm good, right? I can meet that requirement. If I start cycling, right, multiple times, which is what we want to do in fleet, I want to look at the thermal measure, right? And if you look at the temperature of the cell with PCC, you'll see that it's sustained at 40 to 45 degrees Celsius. Why is that an issue? Well, number one, remember what's that charging? Most manufacturers tell you you cannot charge it all. They want to go down. And that's why a lot of they take 25 and charge it first to meet the requirement of the factory, but also to because most people think that low temperature is actually better for chopping. Higher temperature creates SCI layer, gives the impedance low, and it's not good for sleep. And that's where we're challenged. Can I get fast charge? Can I get kind of improvement, which is about some improvement, right? Which is significant with our investment. And then kind of maintain temperature without sacrificing the recycling. So that was the theory of the modeling that we did with a commercial cell, which is the LG. And when we started testing, we found actually the cell itself could not accept the trick. So we had to go back a little bit, the two tricks, and do fast charge. And this is the profile that we're behind on this cell. Does that make sense to everybody? So we're cutting the charge time. This is the first thing to 20 minutes instead of 12. If I can do that and do two charges, two trips between that charge, I'm giving the company a lot of extra trips and they make money. So now, if you do electrochemistry, modeling is great, right? You can model molecular level, cell level, current models, AI now is everybody talking about it. But it comes down to actually testing the cell at the actual conditions and getting the data for us, because we use that data, we suck the hell out of battery, many batteries, to like that data, build physics-based model, and like chemistry that actually calculate state of health, state of charge, state of power. If you don't do that, you got a lot of time. You're going to prematurely, you're not going to be requirement, and you're going to follow the state. So we guys are telling you the only way you're going to get anything is now. The question becomes, we're doing a lot of work, because we used to do hundreds of cells for a year or two, trying to you could be able to get a good number. A lot of the work right now we're doing is about accelerated testing and using AI big data to actually develop physics-based model that actually can give me without good starting point, and then it can adjust, the model themselves can heal themselves. That's the like data and it's built in the game. And we just published this work about synthetic data generation based on this. We're able to track now from 2 years and hundreds of cells, probably tens of cells in 3 months. And that's what we use in the company. Because imagine when you launch a product, your consumer, the customer cannot wait to use. So our challenge, we don't invent chemistry, we take packs, VMS and put together. When a customer comes in and we this whole what? The Amazon has like, then he tell like, I'll give you a like, thank you very much, everybody. Our goal, our customer demand, we need the first prototype in 3 to 6 months. And we need to launch in 12 months. So collecting that data is good. So what you see here is we tested, we were starting with the energy cell, but we found quickly that the energy cells, if you look at the data there, we changed 2 things. We changed temperature, we kept it at 20 degrees, and we changed the voltage. And what you see from this data is that actually the energy cells don't meet by requirement, but the surprise was that at higher temperature, actually fast charge acceptance is better. We knew that 3 years ago, now we have data to prove that. Why is that critical? Because look at this. When I look at the energy capacity, I can then run it at 40 C, but I don't charge at 40. I keep it a little bit with low 4.2, low 4.1, or 4.0, and I keep it even at the power 4.1. Now, we also just received hybrid cells or power cells from the new manufacturer that actually 4.5 amp power. The previous power cell was 4, so now they improved it when they worked submitted internally. So they're pushing the envelope, and those cells we just started the testing, and those are their performance incredibly now. So what you see here, if I can use what's called a 1C charge, I'm able to increase with the high temperature from, if you look at the curve to the right, and if you cycle, I can increase to 250 with the energy cell, which is a lot of cycle. If you look at the original investment, and then you have shapes. This is how we measure. I don't know if you get it. The way to measure cell performance or state of charge, state of health, don't get impedance slope. Now, when the impedance exceeds certain limit, that's the line there, the battery cannot give you enough power for the plane to take off and land, and that's considered enable. Now, why is that critical for us? Because as you see, this work say, okay, it will not be useful for eVTOL, but I can take and use a stationary application in a second line. And as this curve shows you that I can even take and use it for application for one C chart, which is scooter application, some EV application with lower energy density. And that for second life use of batteries, that's a big deal. In EVs, the batteries will be probably depleted after 5 years. So most batteries will last probably 2 to 4 years because we use it quickly. And after that, I can use it for another 5 years with a second July in Earth application as well, And that's the proof store that we actually increase utilization by increasing temperature, playing with VMS and understanding what things. So there's a lot of sophisticated work on behind shoulder behind this. But the bottom line, we think it's common to we told companies, don't get it. Just use it as much as you can, as fast as you can, advantage of it to lower your cost. And then you can sell it to secondary user who can use it for staging, we had talks yesterday today about the need for energy storage for it's going to be massive. The growth of DCSS. So here opens a window for flex play in the future. When they use them after a while, they cannot use the application. The second life is not just economically feasible, but environmentally. It's amazing. I can push recycling that instead of trying to chemical and all that. I can push a secondary use. That I believe that for climate, energy, for cost, it's going to be huge. That's my presentation, and I'd like to acknowledge my colleagues at IIT, UIC, and the kid used to work with us. Actually, one of them is Director Schneider there in the global and the instrumental victims. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hal, for the presentation. Let's get a one quick question from Paul.
Right. I'd like to ask if what context do you see for your modeling Excel for a live application, depending on the use case? That individuals are instruction for intrasity, university. You mentioned that in the airport service, also like easy use cases. Yeah, what kind of consequence would that have on the traffic regulation or especially the bus charging?
So you talk about the model.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one thing about the work in the energy industry, which is very, very cool. You have zero room for error. So I'll give you an example. If your car breaks down, right, it occurs, you all that like call AAA or the heating company that come and pick you up. If your electric plane, you misunderstood the state fell on your power and you want to land and take off, that is something that you're not tolerant. So that's a huge factor. Because if you look at the low profile that I showed you, the power profile for takeoff and landing is very high. So you want safety is a big concern for aviation, so they cannot tolerate that. So if your control system and your data collection is flawed or does not, it is not what's called updated, there's some either advantage are like lessons. They age over time. And if you don't take that into account, in your assessment and control, you're in trouble. And your regulation does not tolerate that. So that's why we feel that it's a huge load or a burden on the scientists or the engineers like us to provide systems that are accurate, because you just have no massive testing. And to do that, you cannot just pull out like AI, big data. That is patterns, right? If you don't have a physics-based model that take into account the action using each vehicle itself, you're in trouble. And only one incident, unfortunately, to shut you down, you cannot afford it. So that's why the burden that we have. So we cannot play around. We have everything we need has to be very active tested in a long time. So what we get, the way we get one, is reducing time by understanding what we're doing, making physics-based model, collect data, and the AI machine learning, all that. But we have to test it, validate it before putting it to a product. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you very much. If I can follow up on the one. So the degradation, the battery experiences during the operation. So let's say noise, we have already interactive. That feedback to the child.
So the impedance involved actually in the function. We don't understand. Sure. takes into account different discharge temperature, sea rate, because not all vehicles fly the same or fly the same. So that has to be encountered and they're going to update it. So you have a diagnostic model that has to diagnose, collect the data and adjust. So what they call self-healing model, the term that probably see as synthetic data generation. That's what we have to use here for the